10 Funniest Incidents of World War II Operation. Operation Mincemeat. In the spring of 1943, British intelligence hatched one of the most bizarre yet successful deception operations of World War II, Operation Mincemeat. The plan was to convince the Germans that the Allies intended to invade Greece and Sardinia rather than their actual target, Sicily. The strategy involved a corpse, dressed as a British officer, being washed ashore in Spain with false documents suggesting the fake plan. The corpse was actually that of a homeless man who had died of pneumonia. British intelligence concocted an elaborate backstory for this fictitious Major William Martin, complete with personal letters, theater ticket stubs, and even a love letter from a fictitious fiancée. When the body was discovered, the documents were passed to the Germans, who believed them to be genuine. The ruse was so convincing that German troops were reallocated away from Sicily, aiding the successful Allied invasion there. The sheer absurdity of using a dead body to mislead the enemy makes Operation Mincemeat one of the most darkly humorous episodes of the war. The Battle of the River Plate, the great escape that wasn't. The Battle of the River Plate, fought in December 1939, involved a dramatic and somewhat comical episode with the German pocket battleship Admiral Graf Spee. After being damaged in battle with British cruisers, the Graf Spee sought refuge in Montevideo, Uruguay. The captain, Hans Langsdorff, faced a dire situation. Repairs were impossible within the neutral port's time limit, and British forces were gathering outside. In a bizarre twist, the British spread rumors of a massive fleet waiting to destroy the Graf Spee, though they had only a few ships. Langsdorff, deceived by the misinformation, chose to scuttle his ship to prevent its capture. The Graf Spee was sunk in the River Plate, and the crew was interned in Argentina. This incident highlights how strategic misinformation can lead to decisions based on fear rather than reality, resulting in a self-inflicted loss. Operation Paul Bunyan, the axe murder incident. In August 1976, a strange and tragic incident known as the axe murder incident occurred at the Korean Demilitarized Zone. Although this happened after World War II, the absurdity of the situation warrants its inclusion. 2 U.S. soldiers were killed by North Korean forces while trying to trim a poplar tree in the joint security area. The tree obstructed the view between UN observation posts, and the North Koreans deemed the trimming as a provocation. In response, the U.S. launched Operation Paul Bunyan, a massive show of force to complete the tree trimming task. With a convoy of military vehicles, attack helicopters, and fighter jets, they sent a team of engineers equipped with chainsaws to finish the job. The operation was a success, and the tree was felled without further incident. The over-the-top response to a seemingly mundane task demonstrates the lengths to which military forces will go to assert dominance, even in the face of absurdity. The Phantom Army of Patton. General George S. Patton, one of the most flamboyant and aggressive American commanders, was ironically placed in charge of a fictitious army, the 1st U.S. Army Group. This army was part of Operation Fortitude, the deception plan to mislead the Germans about the location of the D-Day invasion. The deception included inflatable tanks, fake radio transmissions, and dummy landing craft. Patton's reputation made the Germans believe that the main invasion force would be under his command, targeting the Pas-de-Calais. The ruse was so effective that even after the Normandy landings, German forces remained in Pas-de-Calais, expecting Patton's army to strike. The idea of an illustrious general leading an army of rubber tanks and plywood planes is both ludicrous and brilliant, showcasing how misdirection and psychological warfare played critical roles in the Allied victory. The Great Emu War. While not directly related to World War II, the Great Emu War in Australia is an example of military absurdity. Post-World War I, Australian farmers faced an emu invasion that decimated crops. In response, the government sent soldiers armed with machine guns to cull the emu population. Despite their efforts, the emus proved surprisingly resilient and elusive. The military campaign was a failure, with the emus outmaneuvering the soldiers. The operation ended in a comedic defeat, highlighting the sometimes ludicrous nature of military endeavors when facing unconventional enemies. The saga of Sergeant Bill, the goat hero of World War I. During World War I, a goat named Sergeant Bill became an unlikely war hero for the Canadian Army. While this incident predates World War II, its humor and charm merit its inclusion. Adopted by the 5th Canadian Battalion, Bill served as a mascot and was promoted to sergeant for his bravery in the field. Bill's escapades included headbutting enemy soldiers, surviving trench warfare, and even being gassed. His most famous act was headbutting 3 soldiers into a trench, saving them from a shell blast. After the war, Sergeant Bill was awarded several medals and lived out his days as a celebrated veteran. The idea of a goat serving in the military and performing acts of heroism adds a layer of absurdity and humor to the often grim narrative of war. The Swiss invasion of Liechtenstein. In 2007, Swiss soldiers inadvertently invaded Liechtenstein during a training exercise. They marched 2 kilometers into the neighboring country before realizing their mistake. The incident, which could have led to a diplomatic crisis, ended amicably with Liechtenstein finding the humor in the situation. This peaceful invasion underscores the sometimes farcical nature of military operations and the importance of good-natured diplomacy in resolving such blunders. The Doolittle Raid's unexpected landing. In April 1942, the Doolittle Raid saw American bombers attacking Tokyo and then attempting to land in China. One plane, however, ended up in the Soviet Union, which was neutral at the time. The crew was interned, and the plane was seized. The Soviets eventually allowed the crew to escape to avoid diplomatic complications with Japan. This unintended landing highlights the unpredictable nature of wartime operations and the sometimes humorous outcomes that result from navigational errors and international politics. The Battle of Los Angeles. In February 1942, a rumored Japanese air raid caused panic in Los Angeles. Anti-aircraft guns fired into the sky, and searchlights scanned for enemy planes. Despite the intense barrage, no planes were found, and it was later concluded that the incident was a false alarm possibly caused by weather balloons. The chaotic scene, with artillery shells and searchlights targeting non-existent enemies, reflects the fear and confusion that can grip a city under the threat of war, leading to comical and tragic results. The capture of the Enigma machine by HMS Bulldog. In May 1941, the British destroyer HMS Bulldog captured a German U-boat, U-110, along with its Enigma machine and codebooks. The capture was a significant intelligence victory, allowing the Allies to decrypt German communications. The comical aspect lies in the Germans' belief that the Enigma machine was safe from capture, leading to a lack of proper scuttling of the U-boat. The oversight resulted in a turning point in the war, all because of a seemingly minor mistake. These 10 incidents highlight the absurdity and unpredictability of war, where humor and tragedy often coexist. From elaborate deceptions to navigational blunders, the lighter side of wartime history provides a refreshing perspective on the human experience during conflict.